A woman intentionally dressed sloppily for a blind date, but she regretted it as soon as she arrived at the restaurant. Her crush of 10 years was sitting at the table, drinking coffee. She felt embarrassed and wanted to leave, but he had already seen her and greeted her. Reluctantly, she sat down. She regretted not listening to her mother and dressing up nicely. Her crush noticed her outfit and realized she wasn't interested in the blind date. He didn't recognize her, which didn't upset her too much since she had been quite ordinary in high school. Now, she had a chance to interact with him and decided to seize the opportunity. However, she noticed he kept checking his watch and sensed he might have something urgent. Understandingly, she told him he could leave if he needed to. Before leaving, he exchanged contact information with her. Watching him walk away, her heart raced. Seeing her first love again made her heart flutter. Their story began in high school. She was often bullied by her malicious stepsister. One day, her crush stood up for her and rescued her from the bully. From that moment, she secretly admired him. He was a popular figure at school, and she could only watch him from afar, too shy to approach. One day, she overheard him telling his friends that he wanted to become a pilot and that only someone who could control planes could be his wife. She remembered this and worked hard, eventually becoming an air traffic controller after college. However, he went abroad to work for an airline, and she thought they would never cross paths again. Unexpectedly, she heard his familiar voice at work one day and realized he had returned. To her surprise, her mother had arranged a blind date with him. She was thrilled to have another chance to interact with him. Meanwhile, her high school class president organized a reunion. She didn't want to go initially, but when she saw he would be there, she immediately decided to attend. She arrived before him and saw her classmates comparing their achievements. They all thought she had become more beautiful, except for her jealous stepsister, who mocked her, accusing her of having plastic surgery. The stepsister thought she was still the timid girl from before and insulted her. This time, she fought back. When her crush arrived, the class president joked about her working at an airline and asked if she had met him privately. To her surprise, he admitted they had contact. The class president, curious, asked him to elaborate, but he refused to comment. The classmates learned he was now working for a domestic airline and asked where he flew. He said he could fly anywhere but that the specific routes were determined by air traffic control. Using technical terms, he confused the classmates, then suggested she explain since she worked in air traffic control. The classmates teased that she could control him in the future. She quickly clarified that they weren't colleagues. He worked for the airline, and she worked for the Air Traffic Control Bureau. The class president insisted he listen to her. Just as she was about to explain, he interrupted, asking if that wasn't the case. She was left speechless by his words.